Here we are for this week's edition of Backpage Blues. I would just like to let you know that we are currently indoors because outside there is a hurricane. And it turns out inside there's a hurricane as well. I'm joined by Charlie Skillam from the Mail Online.
How did I know that was coming? I will admit, you know, I wasn't a big fan of this hurricane thing, but it is catching on. I was at West Brom earlier in the week and I literally had about 5 people run up to me and say, "Oh, the hurricane, give us some transfer news."
They're my favourite 5 people in the world, by the way. If you're going to Stamford Bridge this Sunday for the game against Sunderland, or you're going to the parade, if you see this guy, I want a selfie. Please get a selfie with this guy and send it through to us on Twitter. Chelsea Fans YT on Twitter, I'm sure that you follow already. Please get a selfie with this guy. Tweet me, it will make me so happy.
I can't stress enough, don't do that.
Please do it, please, 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 please. Back to business, sorry about that. There's some very, very interesting news. I think news that is going to please everybody. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, there's word on the street that he could be finding his way to South West 6.
What street is that? It was reported in the Italian media today. It's not one the Mail Online's reported. However, I can see why kind of people are making this link. Obviously, he's worked with Mourinho before with immense success. He loves Mourinho. Have you ever read Zlatan's book?
No.
It's absolutely incredible. You know, he's a real interesting character, as everyone knows. And he said basically he'd be willing to die for Mourinho.
Really?
So that's really interesting. He's also been at Paris a while.
Yeah. And he hates the French. He does. He hates them.
That might be. He was in trouble for that this year. He's been at Paris a while, and he's not known for sticking around too long. There's a bit of an issue where both him and Cavani want to play as the top striker. Cavani's usually pushed out to the wing, which he's never been that happy about. And if Paris want to keep Cavani, they might have to move Ibrahimovic on. There was reports of him going back to Milan, which Zlatan's agent rubbished. And of course, while Diego Costa would be our top striker, especially if Didier Drogba leaves, I mean, I'd absolutely love to see it. Unfortunately, it's not one that we've reported. It's not one that I can quite see coming off this summer.
You know, knowing the man, as I do very well, I feel like the man that I know at least through the press, I think Ibrahimovic is the kind of guy who would strive to prove himself in lots of different leagues. I think he's a winner.
And he's done that.
And I think that he would be, I've seen him play against Chelsea twice over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Once not for quite as long as it should have been. But he's good. He looks perfectly suited to the English game. I'd be surprised if it wasn't at least tempting for him.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been a slight kind of asterisk on his career that he's never played in England. I'm sure he won't care because he's won the title in so many different leagues, and he is a born winner and he's a great character. Having said that, I think his ego is so big that I'm not sure he's going to be ready to come in to a top club and play second fiddle, and he definitely would play second fiddle to Diego Costa.
That's an interesting question. Would he?
Yes, definitely.
So if you've got Costa and Ibrahimovic at the club, who's your number 9?
Diego Costa. Absolutely.
Do you guys agree? I think I agree with Charlie, but I think that we're going to come in for some stick here.
Possibly.
Knowing our viewers as I do, I think that this could be very contentious. Yeah. Guys, do you agree with us? If you had a choice of Costa and Ibrahimovic, who is your number 9? Please comment below, let us know. Charlie, what else? Let's move on. Anything else going on?
Well, talking about strikers, one that's slightly more realistic is Christian Benteke.
Oh, Christian Benteke. Just for that reason alone. Just for that reason alone. Hey, let's get him in.
I think every week I say a player's name and you just make up a chant for him
love
on the
a football
spot.
chant. I love a football chant.
I think Chelsea transfer policy would be completely done by the ability to put them in chants if you were in charge.
Which atmosphere would be rocking.
Which I think you should be. He's Aston Villa's best player by a mile. Aston Villa, as we all know, aren't in the greatest of shapes, although they could win the FA Cup, and let's hope they do. I definitely think Chelsea will be in the market for strikers. I've said many times before. We're not quite sure what's happening with Rory and Charlie. We discussed kind of Drogba's suitability to being third choice, and I do think Bamford will go on loan. So Benteke is one that Chelsea are interested in. It's also one Manchester City are interested in, and Roma as well. The only thing that I can see kind of hitching a deal, a possible deal to Chelsea anyway, is again his reluctance to be second choice, and he'd certainly be second choice. It's very, very difficult to find a proven Premier League striker, or at least a proven striker that is going to be willing to sit on the bench. We seem to have that in Loic Remy, but Benteke is an interesting one.
Could Benteke force his way? Has he got the minerals and has he got the skill to force his way ahead of Costa? Is there any world in which he could sign hoping to become the number 9?
I mean, you'd hope he'd have the confidence to do that, and also you think with Costa's injury record, we certainly need
suspension record.
Yeah, well, exactly. We certainly need, you know, a very, very good backup for him. And also, if Drogba's not going to play, Benteke is quite similar in the way that he holds up the ball. He's also skillful like Drogba is, or you know, as Drogba was in his peak. So it is an interesting one, and it's one we've reported this week. But you know, I don't think, you know, he is Villa's number 9. Villa's still a big club, and
hopefully his compatriot Eden Hazard can have a word and sign him up. I'd like him. I think he's a prospect. I think he scores goals whenever he fancies it. Really, he seems to be, particularly when he's on form. Sherwood's got him playing very well, so he's a player I'd like to see at Chelsea actually. But I agree, he's never going to force his way ahead of Costa. No. There is somebody else, Charlie, who I wanted to ask you about, but I had a slight problem. I couldn't pronounce his name, so. We're signing this guy. Yeah,
I'm not even going to attempt it, but I've got great news. The press and all the teammates and everything, they just call him Colo, so I'm going to stick with that.
Colo?
Yeah, Timothy Colo.
Timothy Colo. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, he's a left back and he plays for Sevilla, and he's been one of kind of the surprises of that team, which has played so well in the run to the Europa League final this year. He's very big. He's 23 years old. And he can also play centre half. Now Chelsea and again Manchester City, who you know we perennially seem to be dueling for players. We've both looked at him. I definitely think Chelsea will sign a left back this year because you know
Felipe Luis will go.
He's as good as gone, in my opinion.
But we're in the same situation that we've just had with the strikers. No left back who could come into the club is going to be a better left back than Cesar Azpilicueta.
No, but you know he's young. He's got time on his side. Felipe Luis left, so I think.
There's mileage here.
I think that would be a significant step up to be playing, you know, 15, 20 games in all competitions for Chelsea rather than playing for Sevilla.
I see. Okay, well, fingers crossed. That one sounds quite positive then. Something else that I think a lot of you are going to be very interested in. Everybody's very interested in our youth development, aren't they? Constantly asking questions. How are the youth getting on? There could be some news along the Vitesse lines. Charlie, talk to me.
Yeah. Well, Charlie Masonda, who I know we get quite a lot of questions about, he could go to Marseille on loan. And while, you know, that might not be the most exciting news, what is exciting is that could kick off a partnership between Chelsea and Marseille, similar to one that we've got with Vitesse Arnhem. Right. So, in effect...
But they're a much better club to have a partnership with. Marseille are a fan. I can remember Marseille winning the Champions League. They're a massive club.
They're a huge club in a decent league, a better league than the Dutch league, for certain. Sure. So we could see a scheme where we send players like Masonda, young players like that, to Marseille, and they play proper, you know, top league football in a very good league. You know, I'm not saying he'd walk straight into their first team, but he'd have the experience of being at a big club when he probably wouldn't get a look in at Chelsea next season. He might be able to play, you know, again 10, 15 games for Marseille. Okay. So that's very interesting, and it could bode really well for the future.
That does sound like good news. Wonderful, guys. I think that's probably all we've got time for here, but thank you very much for watching. And remember, comment below. I'm very, very interested to hear your thoughts, particularly on that debate around the number 9 slot. We will go and film part 2 now, so make sure you tune into that. And if you haven't subscribed, do it right now.